Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We have got a session today about AI and human collaboration. This is a very important topic. We're going to be discussing risks and opportunities with speakers. This evening, we have got Naila, Qazi from CCL Canada. Maybe you could introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Naila, as you said. I represent change in small to medium-sized to large-scale organization. I've been doing this work for 15 to 20 years. Lots of my work focuses around when organizations buy technology, big tech, small tech, AI tech, and then there is a gap between adoption to the front floor staff and everything in between. So we come in and take care of that, which includes so many activities. So I know I'm a change manager, but it's so simple to say managing change. It's actually so hard to make people internalize that change, and I'm very proud to do that work.
That makes sense. We also have got Julia Bardmesser joining us from New York.
Yes.
Julia, you are a CEO at Data for Real, and I hear you have a new book out. So
yes,
welcome. If you could say a couple more words.
Sure. Thank you, Alina, for having me here. So I'm Julia Bardmesser, and I've spent over 25 years in large financial services organizations leading data and technology transformation. So not just technology, but a lot of change management, which is much harder than technology. And about 3 years ago, I left the corporate life and I opened my own advisory firm. And I do many things. So I advise on data strategy and AI strategy and how to align it to the business value. I also teach at NYU Stern. I teach MBA students data management and data management strategy. And Alina, as you've mentioned, thank you. I have a book out that came out in September, and it is about, again, aligning data and AI strategy to business value. It's called From Data to Dollars, and it is available on Amazon. So, yes, I invite everybody to go and get a copy.
So welcome. Thank you. We also have got Nim, Chief CISO, I believe, a cybersecurity expert and AI expert as well, with many years of experience in the industry. Nim Nadarajah, if you could introduce yourself.
Thank you, Alina. Pleasure being on this panel with everybody. My name is Nim Nadarajah. I'm the CISO and managing partner at Critical Matrix. I've been in the industry 30 years, so seen the beginning of bulletin boards and dial-up modems, the birth of the internet, the mobile phone, the cloud, and big data, and now AI. Really exciting to say that all of this change and transformation that Nalia and Julia said is happening within our single lifetime. Our company, Critical Matrix, specializes in cyber data, identity, and governance. We are a full-service consulting firm playing in the enterprise space.
Thank you. It's great to have you. And we also have got Himanshu Joshi here with us, who has got a ton of expertise in the AI space, works with Vector Institute, the University of Waterloo. He has got a course now on LinkedIn Learning. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Alina. I really appreciate that. Yes, so I have been with Vector till very recently, and a couple of months back, I decided to translate my research into something which is of value to businesses and individuals. So now I'm working on translating research to create some platforms focusing specifically on collective intelligence amongst humans and autonomous systems. And one of the work which is going to come out very soon is a platform which will help larger enterprise as well as small and medium businesses manage as well as govern the security, observability, and governance of multi-agent systems. And this is an outcome of the research which we have done in the last 12 months. So looking forward to exchanging notes here with everyone. And as it was brought out earlier by other two panelists, I think it's not the technology, it's not even the data in infra, it is the change and the people who are taking us forward or making it a little difficult to manage AI transformation, but just happy to share and learn from everyone here. Thank you.
So thank you. Today is just a discussion, and we are going to be discussing a couple of topics around human and AI collaboration. And if those of you in the audience have got questions, feel free to add them into the chat. And if there is time, we are going to pick them up. So we're just going to kick it up and discuss how do humans interact with AI. We now have seen 2025 almost at an end. Everyone is running towards agentic AI, building agents, leveraging AI. Everyone is thinking, how can I use this? Is this going to take my job? Can I proof myself against AI? And how do we govern all of these AI systems, right? That's a huge challenge. And when it comes to AI and cyber, how do we prevent attacks? So attacks have skyrocketed because there is now lots of good happening with AI, but there's also some risks and unfortunately bad actors. And scams are unfortunately through the roof with all the AI technology that we are seeing. So if AI systems start acting autonomously, and we are talking AI agents with an ability to take action autonomously, taking actions across digital systems, across different structures and across our data, how confident are we that we can govern this? And a lot of companies are seeing that, well, if we plug in some agentic AI, perhaps we can, gain efficiency. And are we confident in these systems? And essentially, what's that governance look like? And if
I'll jump in,
yes,
Alina, because, well, so it's interesting, and I guess it depends on the industry and the companies you work with. But I tend to, a lot of my connections and the companies I work with, well, there is a lot of talk about AI. I'm not seeing a lot of agentic AI adoption. What I see a lot, things that people have been doing for a while, being rebranded as agentic AI. So somewhere people are coming up with something like BI agent. And if you ask what is BI agent, it's actually report. So I think the rumors of the death of human work has been at this point highly, highly exaggerated, at least in the companies that I have seen and the ones that I've worked with. So that's kind of one. The second point is how comfortable are we with forget AI agents, with the systems that have been coded for years and years and tens of years, making right decisions and given the actions. Like we think if it's programmed in deterministic way, that we should know what it's doing. But as somebody who used to be a developer and who run large development organizations, systems tend to surprise you a lot, even if they're not AI and machine learning systems. So I think a lot of structures that we have, which is between testing and human in the loop and governance, and a lot of governance would be around data, not so much around models, because models are difficult to govern. I think that will need to be built out for this new era and the new technology. Technology is very powerful. I'm not trying to downplay the power of the technology. All I'm saying that the reality of what I'm seeing right now, there is a lot more hype that's actual use, especially actual use and replacing humans. Beyond, warehouse jobs, that type of automation has been happening for a while.
I agree with what Julia is saying in terms of we are not using a lot of agentic, as let's divide our cyber realm into the good guys and the bad guys, right? But if you look at the most recent exploit with Anthropic and Claude, that is a good example that there's a combination of the bad guys using agentic tools to do reconnaissance and some of the discovery work that they've done, and then also human intervention in order to find that spacing in the data guardrails, right? So there is agentic technologies being, they are being used. It's just that the percentage of it being used fully on the good guys side is probably not where we want it to be compared to where it is with the bad guys using it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. A lot of those,
sorry.
I just wanted to add that the bad guys, unfortunately, don't work in regulated industries, and they can just go to town. And some of us in regulated
We should create a
companies,
governing body to regulate them. That's what we should do.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I wanted to add to Julia's point and Nim's point. Essentially, there's a lot of agent washing going on. What was AI washing very recently? So a lot of because of the hype and the marketing gimmick, and the commitments, you will find a lot of agentic workflows, traditional RPAs, traditional IPAs, robotic process automation, intelligent process automation is being sold to the public, to the clients, by vendors as autonomous agent systems. So it's very important to bring out the difference. Autonomous agentic systems have to have autonomy, have to have agency. And as per Gartner's report on this, only 9% of so-called agentic systems which are being sold are actually autonomous. That is very important because people are just selling agentic workflows, some no-code, low-code stuff as agentic. They're not agentic. They may be agentic workflow. They may automate some part of your workflow and they don't have any agency. That being said, for sure, it is far from what it's supposed to be doing. And I had the privilege of being part of one of the agentic multi-agent system deployment in one of the Fortune 100 companies in North America. There are a lot of issues when the rubber hits the road in terms of how the model drifts, how the data drifts, and how agents behave with their tendency of emergent behavior and self-preservation. And that is where the human comes back in the picture. We need more and more domain experts who need not and should not be ML engineers and data scientists. They should not be people from product or business. They should be the core domain experts of that domain. For example, if you're deploying multi-agent autonomous system for customer care support, we need people who have been talking to customers for the last 15 years. They are the ones who will validate what comes out of the agentic system, if it is verified, true, correct, or not. Similarly, if it is a transcription tool between doctor and patient conversation, that can be verified only by medical professionals who know, is it making sense or not? Because for you and me, who are not from medical profession, I'm not sure if there's a doctor here or a medical profession here, we may find it to be very, very accurate because it looks very fluffy. It looks very, very nice in terms of how it is being orchestrated. So that's the thing. So I think agentic can be leveraged only with a lot of domain expertise. And when we drill down deeper, you'll find that at every step, every life cycle stage of an agentic system, we need humans to take care of various aspects which can go haywire and can cause a lot of trouble. Thank you.
That makes sense. I actually build AI agents with the team, and we make sure that there is a human expert in the loop. So those agentic systems, yes, can they take action autonomously? For sure, but we don't really want them. We want those experts to be in the loop. And I have been having conversations across the industry around things like, are we able to have AI systems that are potentially more capable than humans at certain jobs? And in collaboration with the humans, is it possible to even replace human workers altogether? And that is something that many are questioning. Is it possible to build very safe systems? Can we even regulate them? And if replacements become cheaper, AI doesn't have to take lunch. I mean, let's face it, it's cheaper than that human person sitting in a contact center. And that's actually, unfortunately, a discussion I just had recently. Could we replace and automate entire jobs, not just tasks? And what are some of those moral applications, or maybe ethical. Just because we can do something, I mean, should we be doing something? And the change management that comes into it. So now we have got AI systems and humans potentially working together, and there is huge change that's happening now.
It looks like everyone on the call is a change manager here. So, although by title, I kind of think I'm more. Should I just jump in to answer this question?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
it's for everybody. Yeah, I think I agree with all my three peers are saying here, and also your early on question, the ethics, the governance, and all that component. I think there are big conversations going around, like not even any single webinar you go on or any conference you attend, the ethics, the governance, and all those things are being discussed everywhere. And of course, we all agree with that, right? And all those bad guys, the good guys, all that conversation. And I agree with just Nim just said that, and whoever said that there are gimmicks and there's a lot of gimmickry going on. I early on was a victim of that. They're buying something offline that it will automatically generate my PowerPoints because I was sick and tired of preparing myself. And I paid like to three different and lost money. It was just erroneous. Everything was faulty. But those are the guys, they open their briefcase and they say, "You want to see these $1 million? I made them building this Agentic AI. Come and build with me." So I bought those and so I know a lot of gimmickry is going on. I agree with that. But at the same time, we're also seeing like real results as well, like, efficiencies, even using co-pilots, chat GPT for redundant tasks. I think those are gifts. Like we just come with its own kind of negativity or pros and cons, whatever. But what I would like to talk about from change management perspective and seeing it in organization from small to medium enterprise to larger organization who are at the global level operating, that AI is not one thing and AI is not at one single level, of course. So some organizations are still, from change management perspective, skeptic. It's total skepticism, especially very highly regulated industries. They still, because they're not enough use cases for successful examples we could cite as change managers. Hey, there it is, and then let's go and launch it. So I see like skepticism in kind of senior leadership team really adopting it. They still think it's tech. They still think it's either admin role. They still think it's at IT. They don't see it as strategy. And I think they have a point. I still agree with kind of those kind of skeptic partners or as like C-suite executives or leaders. The other piece is I'm still seeing some organization in experimentation. Some are in exploring, some are in kind of scaling up. They already have adopted. People like you already built agents for them, which are working 100% with accuracy for them, delivering results, reducing all the redundancies, and they're very, very happy because it was cheap for them to adopt it, right? In certain areas of the business. But what I observe and see from change perspective, being in with so many clients and having those discussions, that we have not still yet seen 100% roadmap that how every single role based on our 20, 30 years of history, um, the roles which we have and the titles we have in organizations, how could we map to AI? Like we don't have that yet, right? So we still in that extremely early stage where there is lots of hype, but there is very little substance. And I think that's where I observe and see it like wherever I go. And yeah, I think I'm just open to be challenged. I would love it.
So you hit on a point around strategy, aligning that strategy to generate value. So Julia has a book about it, and Himanshu has got a whole course on LinkedIn about it, where as soon as you start aligning that strategy to that AI, that's where you are seeing that value. If you're just poking around and buying Copilot, studies have shown that, and there was an interesting study recently done, companies are able to see maybe 2-3% lift on the bottom line when putting in things like the ChatGPT and the Copilot. It's personal efficiency and those gains. But the biggest bang for buck, that's when you are impacting the bottom line. That's when AI is helping your sales teams, your marketing teams. That's when you're optimizing those leads or opportunities or that follow up. Himanshu, yeah?
I just wanted to add to what Naila said. So it's actually absolutely true. And this is something which is from a research which is like being running over for last 15 years. BCG MIT does an annual survey with a lot of leaders. And one of my professors at MIT, she is one of the co-author, and she has many books on this. And one of the book, it says, job is easy, people are not. Essentially, before AI transformation, there was digital transformation, cloud transformation. You can bring in the technology. It's the people and the processes which actually are kind of roadblock or catalyst, depends on the organization, how the leadership and everybody gets involved. So everything from initial versions of digital and cloud transformation to current generation of AI transformation, it'll very much depend upon how the processes and the people have been motivated. And one point which actually this report brings out, BCG's report, that AI transformation is, they have a rule which is called 70-20-10. So AI is only 10% of the transformation. You can bring in the best of the models, you can have the best of the techniques which are available. You can pay a lot for them, or you can build something of your own. Totally your call. 20% would be your data, because AI actually requires a lot of good data. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you. And obviously, you need good infrastructure. You can't use legacy systems because they'll not be able to bear the load. But the 70% of it is actually people and processes. And now we talk about agentic and autonomous systems as well as agentic workflow. You need that workflow, and workflow essentially is the process. If it is not mapped properly, we'll not be able to run it, and it may look very good in a demo, in a POC. And as Alina mentioned, actually this course was inspired by this whole concept that almost 79% of AI POCs never materialize into full-fledged project, because there are a lot of misses between the cup and the lip. Because, and change management actually is the most crucial part of it. People may not right now focus on it because it's all hyped up, but it will always remain about people. And when we are able to actually get people along, everything else falls in place. And now this whole repurposing and reshifting, and perhaps education is definitely a big thing about it, that we need to educate people, because previous technologies never threatened that it'll take my job away. AI has the potential to take my job away. So I'm very skeptical about saying yes for trying out a new technology which can cause trouble. That's why I'm not up and about for doing anything which will require me to contribute with whoever is doing it, internal or external teams. So that is something which needs good management of perception, and obviously a lot of mitigation of risk and mindset change, which if not done properly, not managed properly as good change champions, may cause a lot of grief. And that's what is happening in organizations. I think Aditya asked, so I've shared a couple of reports which talk about economical potential of AI, but then it can only be leveraged if we are able to move things forward together. It could be a small team, it could be a large enterprise. Perhaps it could also be valid for large community of people. It could be at national level as well. If you read these reports, you will find that how a few countries are doing a little better than others because they are able to move. One very good example at country level would be Singapore. I mean, Singapore has free compulsory AI education for everybody who's like, I think, 45 years or below. And everybody is mandated to do that as part of the organization or the national policy. So things like that can actually be very helpful. Yeah. But again, bottom line remains the change which we need to do.
Alina, do we
I
have
mean, one of the big reasons, sorry, Nai, go ahead.
Can I just build on what Himanshu said, and then should I go? Do we have time? I just want to be cautious.
Yeah, we have time. Also, I cannot hear you well. If you could speak up.
Oh, could you not hear me at all? I just changed my
I can hear, but it's very low.
Does it sound well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I just wanted to reinforce the point which Himanshu has made, or maybe built upon that just a little bit. When it comes to change, and when it comes to like good change, and he's right, like I was launching digital and cloud and all those things, and suddenly AI came, right? I think people, what I'm perceiving that why people are afraid, like we always have lived the Wall Street crisis and then COVID and all those things. But this time, like the fear of job loss is very different, which I'm noticing in my kind of corporate plus entrepreneurial kind of career. I see that people are more afraid of losing job this time. And I think that fear has also come from that adaptive breakdown, like the concept that maybe for the future shock, I am not good enough. Like just this change shock is such a big shock to people, like their psyche, their like believing in their own skills or their own potential, that in the past, like if they believe that I'm able to just learn this skill, that's fine, you know. But this time it looks like, as someone said, as in Singapore's example, Imanchu, you saying that people who are under 45, but honestly, we have like millions and millions of people in workforce right now who are 45 plus and above, and they are the one who are actually worried that what will happen to my job because I'm not that an age kind of due to circumstances or due to family commitment and all, go back to school and learn AI or spend hours and hours on YouTube or free courses and all. So those people are really afraid. But as it's really impacting a very small amount of our workflows, because our workflows are 20th century, like decades older workflows. Organizations always have been hierarchical military style organizations. They never evolve. Like I still think we still live in that industrial like protocols, right? One approval, two approval, three approval. We never got out of that, and suddenly sitting on top of kind of making people afraid, making people anxious. People are depressed. They came from post-COVID kind of brain, which has impacted us in a very negative way, and now we are on this hype. So I think that a good change management is so critical, right? Really having champions on your side, really listening not to the business cases or the rationale, listening to emotions, listening to real concerns, having real conversations, not just the town hall about the next feature of the product which organizations are buying. It's not about the technology itself. Like tech is at like one part, it's there, but then you have your people on the other side, and there is this big, either I call it like either fire burning, or there is a big vacuum, or it's a tsunami of kind of everything which is attacking like all of us, we people. And how do we do that? We only could manage it with big change. And that fear of adaptive kind of skill set, that I won't be able to have a future in the modern kind of decade, we need to do something about it, because it's making people depressed. We use the word fear, we use the word um, that people are afraid, loss of job and all, but now it's affecting mental health, and it's affecting really badly. There's so many cases of that. Not that because we're using ChatGPT, or couple of cases people like harming themselves using, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that generation of all 40 plus kind of people who are not fresh from grad school, and they still have to stay in the job for another 20 years. What do we have for them? Do we have for them just fear?
And
Like,
even younger individuals. I teach university and I have got younger individuals, and they are all using AI. They're using anything from ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, lots of different tools. And I asked them a question. If you're submitting, so this past semester, I would say it has been 100% that they're using AI to submit assignments. And it has evolved over the past couple of years from a couple students, then half of my class, and I think now we're 90, 100%. Everyone is adopting AI, so assignments have become perfect. AI is still not very good at architectural designs. So the architectural diagrams are still not there. Math, statistics, not all of it is perfect. But assignments are amazing. And I ask my students, what is your value? What human value do you bring? If you're able to submit perfect assignments that AI created, where do you stand? What is it that you bring to the table? And you're going to graduate, and then you're going to ask for references, and then you're going to act as experts in this industry. but you're just not using your heads, and that kind of made students think, right? Nim, you are in cybersecurity, so you're leveraging AI, I suspect, in your work, right? Using AI to detect AI.
Yeah, I mean, AI in our field of work, it's not just securing using AI as a security tool, but also thinking of ways of securing AI because everyone is using it, right? Um, and there are several challenges with the way we govern AI because it is new to everybody. I can give you an example where, with the correct detection controls, we found 4 employees at a large financial institution who were focused on consistently training the internal LLM with a erroneous result in order to just be harmful to the company. And remember, right now, LLM-based models base their return to values from your prompt on information that is the most relevant and most available. So if you repeat something enough and you talk about it often, it is convinced that that is the right answer when that certain question is asked. That's a form of AI poisoning that if you don't have the right controls in place, you're never going to catch it, right? I did have one comment on something we were talking about earlier that I think it's important to address. And I talk about it at C.CISO roundtables and with other executives. Every industrial revolution that we've been through had people scared of losing their jobs. Because there's always that one cohort that says, oh my God, I don't know if I can step up. Is it time for me to step off the train? Right? But there's also that 80% that, somehow they figure out, look, where am I sitting with context? How am I seeking greater understanding? What is my past experience? What information do I need to get better? Build their knowledge base and move into a position where they're able to generate and create value with what's new. And so right now we're on the bottom of that sort of, what is the context I need? What is the understanding I have? And building data and knowledge and understanding, right? Because it's the beginning. But what's interesting is it took us 12 years to get to cloud. It took us 18 months to get to AI. So the speed at which it's happening is thousands of times faster. But this the transition of change that the industry and all our businesses are going through is not new, right? So invention of the wheel caused a problem. Moving from steam to electricity was an issue. When we created nuclear, it was like, holy crap, what are we going to do? This is just another one of those industrial transformations and industrial revolution changes we're going to go through. Quantum is going to be another big one. And it's the space in between industrial revolutions is exponentially reducing. So now we're in AI. Before we're even out of AI, quantum is going to come in and be the next revolution. So the one thing we should be prepared for is drastic change.
To add, if I can add, like not only there were people who are afraid to lose job, actually there are plenty of people who have lost their jobs to automations waves before, right? And we can name, from people who drove horse carriages to automation in the warehouses, where to automation on the fields, on agricultural fields, where they're now like 2 people on huge fields, and on and on and on. So that does happen. And you always hope that you, like in your industry, in your cohort, you're going to be the one who will not lose the job, that will be able to adapt. But that does happen. That's what humans do, right? We come up with new things, and the new things make old things obsolete. And, usually it raises all the boats, but not all the boats, right? So we have to acknowledge that that's in fact happening. Um, so, but setting that aside, Alina, I actually wanted to tell you, so it's interesting what you say about students. So I'm right now in the middle of teaching my class, and I don't do like assignments prepare for a final, and I can see them using ChatGPT or whatever, whichever GPT they use. for writing. The problem is that what I'm asking them to do is not in ChatGPT. So the groups it's group assignments. So they all use it to make it a little bit nicer, the language, but they either get the concept and address the concept correctly. Maybe they're getting some like extra detail from ChatGPT, or they go completely to ChatGPT and they totally miss the point. And I see it very clearly. And so my feedback is then, like I told them, you want to use ChatGPT, of course, but by all means use ChatGPT, but don't outsource your thinking. Of course, the whole point of this class is that you think differently. If you outsource your thinking to ChatGPT, A, you won't learn anything, and B, you will not be successful in your final. But it's more important that you learn than the final itself. So I find that interesting that you're seeing perfect assignments, maybe because what I'm teaching is the framework that kind of is not ChatGPT has not been trained on. I'm not seeing people who use it given perfect assignments. It's the other way around.
That's actually good. I have been adopting assignments. So it's more in person and more interactive and less researching it, because AI is really good at researching a topic. You can feed it a textbook and research, even if it's not material in the in the cloud or ChatGPT. You can upload the entire base of knowledge, all the textbooks, and you can essentially prompt it enough to produce amazing assignments and results. But the idea is, yes, let's not outsource our thinking. And Human Shu has got a
I
comment.
just wanted to add to that. It's a very, very interesting point. So I conduct a lot of lectures for undergrad, grad, and other students, as well as working professionals. So one point I want to bring to our notice here, there's a report from World Economic Forum, which calls itself as Skills of Future 2030. And if you see that report, and that is based on a real life survey from employers, that what kind of talent they would like to see. So so-called hard skills of today, which includes programming a computer, data analytics, business analytics, none of them feature in that list. The only skills which are required in 2030 are so-called soft skills of today: communication, empathy, critical thinking. And only one quasi hard skill is how to leverage big data and AI to solve a problem. So perhaps this shift by professors, and like both of you brought out here, to encourage students how best to leverage AI to solve problems is the future. Because if you see a lot of companies which have come in, a lot of unicorns out of Silicon Valley in last 1.5 years are teams of less than 10 people. All of them are evaluated at $3-4 billion. That means with power of AI, they can solve problems. And we are using those tools like Cursor, Windsurf, Lovable. All of them are like not more than 20 people working. And it's actually phenomenal. I mean, obviously, there are issues, there are risks that if you dive deeper, you will find there are a lot of cybersecurity risk, there are a lot of governance risk. But the value which it's creating, Gamma, Naila, you're talking about an app which can create PPTs for us. Gamma does a great job. And now I think Gemini 3 is fantastic. I mean, Notebook LM. So I think all the students who are using Notebook LM and tools like that. So I think all AI providers have a tool or an option to learn with AI, which can actually transform how we learn. Just imagine I don't speak English and French, and you are taking your classes. You're teaching in English. I'm sitting somewhere in some part of the world. I can connect and actually apprehend the greatest of the knowledge which has been given by the best of professors or best of professionals anywhere in the world. It is the win-win. I think AI has transformed how we educate ourselves and everybody else. And one more point I wanted to add here, the point which we say that the subject matter experts who are like beyond 45, 50 years of age, I think their understanding of the subject matter is something which will make us leverage AI to solve the problem like nothing else. A lot of unexplored fields of business which cannot be otherwise solved without knowing the domain expertise. So I'm a big supporter of pair programming, that you have a technician or a technologist working with a domain expert. And domain expert could be anybody. It could be a neuroscientist or a nanotechnologist who does not know anything about data science and ML because they're not supposed to know. They know their domain. And the best example here would be AlphaFold. If it was left to the human PhDs to solve the protein folding problem, it would have taken us 1 billion years of human time. And now AlphaFold solves it, though it is 5 years of existence. I think the amount of hyper personalized medication and using the same logic of AlphaFold protein folding, if we augment it towards material discovery or mineral discovery, a lot of high end productive material can be discovered in the lab and then productionized in the factory. We can perhaps do a better thing with our environment instead of excavating earth and finding minerals. So I think it's transformative. It's only human critical thinking how we want to actually leverage this. And for that, we don't have to actually be a computer scientist or a machine learning engineer. We just need to understand the problem. And so this kind of combination can be the transformation. So hopefully in a day or two, one of our paper, which is right now under review, which talks about this particular ideology, would come out, and I would strongly actually support translating all these senior folks who have so much of experience to become an ambidextrous person who is able to translate the business requirements. When I say business, means that particular domain expert requirement to a technologist so that he or she can actually give them what it needs. Because the technologist may not understand the domain expertise because they are too much, they're blind, they are behind the screen, they are just coding what they need to. And if this person tells them that this is what they need, it could be a win-win solution. And that is where they can leverage their experience and leverage AI to solve problems faster. Just a thought here.
I'm a big user of Gamma presentation. How did you know that? I was the first one who bought that too. But here is something very interesting, and that builds on Alina's points and to all of you who teaches and asks students to do their assignments. When I make my own presentations and when I'm presenting and teaching, I don't even need to look at my slides because I recall every single fact. And when I produce, I'm in a hurry and I have no kind of time, and I did my slide deck in like Gamma presentations. It prepares those beautifully if I prompt it right. Slide deck, and I have it, which everyone kind of goes, wow, Naila, you're a genius at slide deck. I can't recall any single fact out of those slides because then I have to look word by word what that slide is saying, and then I kind of pretend that I'm explaining it. So that links to a report which I am 100%, all of you are highly educated and very interested in AI. Again, it's MIT reference, the Media Lab report, Your Brain on Chat GPT, when they have 3 pilot groups. The group who solely relied on Chat GPT writing their essays could not recall even one hard fact out of their essay. It was accurate. It was 100% beautiful assignment. And the one who did Google and all those kind of search engines, they still could recall something. And of course, the original writers, they could recall 100% out of that. So I think I just wanted to shift the conversation a little bit more towards human creativity and the ingenuity which we have as human. I know, Imanchu, you impressed me so much with all the tech lingo, which I would avoid to not even go near, like, because of course it's based on your research, your field of area of expertise. But I'm just 2 areas which bother me a lot, and I think in every discussion I just learn for answers from experts like all of you who are on this call. Number one is that, are we kind of really outsourcing our brains? As it was a study by Media Lab at MIT. It's Natalia Kazamina. It's kind of, she was the lead researcher on that. And the other piece is bias against women. And I just recently attended a Commonwealth seminar, which was, I think, some of the government officials from the UK government, they were on that webinar. And they talked about how bias could impact women more than men, because lots of those coders right now who are coding these language models are males, and it's just unconscious bias which is creeping in. So what does that mean? Like in future, we could see less women in leadership roles because they would not be screened out for the right jobs because the tools would be so biased unconsciously. And it's not a flaw of AI. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying it's a flaw of the way, again, our workflows, our systems, and people who hire for to do certain kind of jobs are males mainly or guys. One of my child is an engineer, and in that class there were 60 males and only 6 females who identified themselves. So if all of them are going into the work field and coding AI, so you could I could assume that lots of these AI coders would be unconsciously biased against females because just looking at that little sample. So these are the two thoughts which I wanted to part away with today.
That's very relevant. We have got AI systems, unfortunately, used to sift candidates for jobs. And who remembers that case where I believe it was Amazon who trained AI system to select the best engineers, and because they fed pretty much only male resumes, it completely never selected women because it picked up that the best resumes that it saw, it was trained on only male resumes. And then they realized this, so they obviously pulled that system out. But there are other systems, such as selecting job applicants or getting a medical procedure done, or getting paid, or getting your medical procedure approved and paid if you're doing something. I have even experienced this. I was told I needed some help with my knee. And I was told, well, you're not a man, you're not a young man, and you're not an athlete. According to our machine learning models and according to our AI systems, we are most likely not going to cover this medical procedure because my profile just doesn't fit. So that's just an example of what we can see. Patients or candidates, or even getting into university, there is a lot of AI systems now being used to screen applications. And that's pretty unfortunate. And Himanshu, you have a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the point which both of you mentioned. Absolutely spot on. So there is an issue which starts from the data initially. So what because data is not heterogeneous, it is homogeneous. And every time we would tell our data team that I want this particular solution as on yesterday, what they would do, they will just pull the data which is publicly available, which always is anything which is public has a lot of issues. So now, again, going back to I'm an MIT alum, so I'm just keeping the flag high. So MIT, along with a couple of other universities, has this open source solution which is called Data Provenance Initiative, which allows you to map the lineage of the data, how heterogeneous it is. And I'll give you my personal example. So once upon a time, one of the lady in my family was uploading her picture to get a government ID made, because obviously I'm a person of color, so she was she. So the government application portal didn't allow her picture to get uploaded because it said an invalid entry. And when we just spruced up the image with some photo editing tool, make it a little brighter, it got accepted. And the reason for this is not that the person who made the developer was biased. It was because the data which was used initially to train the model was full of only images which were of Caucasian, white people, generally white male, some white female, because it would have been trained some 25 years back when there was not sufficient data available and you would not find people around. You must have been made in dormitory of one of the universities. So that's how, because the data was not heterogeneous, it was picked up from a public source somewhere in Kaggle, and it continued to demonstrate that. So that is one part. The second thing which has been done very brilliantly now at MIT is all the risk, almost 1,700 risks have been mapped, which can cause any kind of problem for AI. I've been part of the team, so this is the repository and this is the data initiative. I would strongly advise all of you as leaders to actually use these tools. They're all free public access tools to build your solutions, which are a little more heterogeneous than being only representative of one set of people, one set of population, so that it does not have biases, which will trickle in not now, somewhere else. Somewhere else across the globe, with some one candidate who's either who's not represented in the initial data set. Thank you.
Aditya, Saxena, you have a question.
Yeah,
Welcome.
so I was going through this vibe coding tool. I've been using Figma, and I realized something that probably business analysis, if you can frame the problem correctly, the vibe coding tools, they are so good that business analysis should be a big skill in the next generation. Basically, we're looking at, if the computer has to understand the business language, and if we can fix that, that's so I think the next generation of coders are actually business analysts.
I would tend to agree. There's also some tools available from Databricks, for example. I don't know if you're familiar. They have got Genie, and Genie is out of the box AI BI type tool, where you pretty much supply your question about the data in human language. On the back end, it takes your prompt, your question, attaches the metadata, the schemas, the variable names, sends it to a large language model. The code gets written. Maybe there is an other agent to validate it against some of your business rules, and then it gives you back that human answer. So you can say, okay, how many mortgages did we do this past month? And there you go. And there's other tools out there, but this is definitely something I think we are going to definitely see. And that's actually my last question for the evening. What are we going to see for 2026? What kind of trends and patterns? And I'm going to ask each and every one of our speakers today to give us a couple of words as to what are you expecting in 2026 in the new year?
I'll start from a cybersecurity perspective. We're definitely going to see more agentic attacks where the bad actors are using a truly autonomous attack vector to come after our information and our AI agents, what we're calling AI agents. Because simply, just listen to the discussion we had today. Look at all the different examples of data infiltration, data exfiltration, data repositories, data storage. And in Canada right now, even our regulations have not caught up to how do we use, govern, and manage information ethically within the context of AI. So we are really, really far behind. Everyone's trying to do a good job with what they understand. But from a CISO perspective, you can't be restrictive. You can't say no. You have to allow this growth to happen. But you also can't allow it in a way that is uncontrolled, unmanaged, and unmonitored. So organizations to battle the amount of risk we're facing are going to have to step up on their data governance, their data strategy, classification, records and information management, data governance programs. These are going to be paramount in 2026 because everyone's doing it. And if you block it, someone's going to swipe their credit card and find a way to exfiltrate the data and use it somewhere else. Just the way it is.
You might also see AI that writes itself.
Yeah.
And those attacks getting even smarter. Julia,
Yeah.
Himanshu?
After Julia.
Yeah. So one of things, we are in AI hype and bubble area. So one of things I'm not looking forward to, but concerned that what's going to happen with this AI bubble. So is it going to continue that way or is it going to burst? Because if it does burst, it's going to have a huge impact on the economy and on the jobs. Forget the replacement of the workers, because a lot of what's been kept up right now is all due to the market. So that's kind of one side of it. The other side of it, we've seen a lot this year from multiple, including MIT and McKinsey and Gartner, around how little return there is on AI investment. And to get the return, you kind of have to go back to the basics, to what is our business strategy? What do we need to get this business strategy executed? What kind of capabilities we need? And AI is one of those capabilities. And what do we need to have in place to have AI successful, which is all the things that Nim just mentioned: data governance, metadata management, context. business context, business understanding. But this is my hope that we will go back to this, because what I've seen this year, that people are so much looking for AI magic to magic up solutions without having to do any real work of building foundations or repairing foundation. And it's not working, but there is enough noise in the system where it seems like something's going on. So I'm kind of hoping that next year it will really land, that there isn't a return on all of this investment if you don't invest in very, you know, uh, strategic approach of what are you trying to do and how you're trying to do it and who is trying to do it. And invest a lot in change management, because yeah, it's a lot of it is about people.
Himanshu?
Yeah, I just wanted to add two things. One, as the attacks using agentic systems will increase by the bad actors, more and more of our organization, initially the enterprises, later on the small and medium businesses, public sector, and individuals, would require to have a combination of agentic systems, LLMs, multimodal models, and humans to provide that security, governance, and observability. And that is something which right now we are converting our research to create a platform that's going to happen. Second thing is, even if the AI bubble bursts, which may happen because there's a lot of money floating around, especially because of other reasons, the marketing reasons. But otherwise, the kind of productivity which it brings to common, all of us, like all of us talked about some examples individually as well as amongst our peers, our students, and our colleagues, family members. I think there is a rise of a new set of skill which is going to come up where I think somebody mentioned, Aditya or somebody mentioned about how we anybody who can actually contextualize, context engineer the whole system, because you are interfacing with the technology with natural language. It has never happened in past. Previously, you had to go to university, get a degree, then perhaps do a PhD, a master's, work very hard as a developer, as a scientist, then you become somewhere coming close to technology. So the entry barrier to technology has come down drastically. Now it's totally up to us. So you'll find more and more solopreneurs, small teams creating extremely large amount of value. And I'm not only talking about dollar value, it could be value in terms of changing how we do things, how we transform medicine, how we change uh, environment risk, or how do we teach, how do we uplift some unfortunate part of our society in terms of bringing them out of poverty or giving them better education, all those things that can happen, and that is totally up to us. So if we think that my job is going, perhaps I have a better job to do instead of writing spreadsheets and making PPTs. I don't want to waste 6 hours of my time. I just use an MCP on my cloud with my Canva, prepare the PPT in 10 minutes, correct it for next 20 minutes, is done. And it's perfectly fine. It's acceptable. Till the time it is acceptable to my audience and my team, it's perfectly fine. My rest 5 hours can go in some critical thinking, some strategic thinking, which can transform my company, my team, whatever I'm doing. So that is the shift. I think you will see more and more of it. This is towards positive direction. Yeah. Thanks.
Yep. How about Aditya? I believe you also are a lecturer.
Yes, I am a lecturer. I'm now working with NVIDIA Deep Learning Institute. So if you want me to host a workshop, I can host a workshop for your university
Sure.
free of cost. I can also bring in the catering because NVIDIA provides me that. Yeah.
Sure.
So in
Uh,
NVIDIA's stocks, like what would you like to say something about this?
I am a technical person. I don't understand business language a lot. If you ask me about neural networks, I can talk about that. Right. Honestly, I do have a question, and because I've been reading about something called Kolmogorov Arnold networks, and what I'm going to add here is, we have had this multi-level perceptrons for a very long time, and usually these neural networks have trainable weights, and they're very hard to interpret. So a new kind of neural networks emerged last year. This paper got 2,000 citations. So basically, instead of weights, they train functions. The activation function
mhm.
itself is learnable. Because we are having a function, it's more easy to understand. And I think mathematicians are going to become more important in the future as well when we are talking about model interpretability in something. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So one suggestion, if you have not yet checked out Liquid AI, Liquid AI is a startup. After a long time, MIT released a startup instead of releasing technology directly. They have something called Liquid Foundation Models, which actually relies on something similar. And it's like invertebrates. They draw this idea of invertebrates in animal kingdom, how it does not have to be a transformer architecture. And I think the shift for AGI or superintelligence is beyond transform architecture, and it's so there are a whole lot of scientists and engineers who talk about it, and Dr. Jan LeCun leads it, and that's why he left Meta recently. So you will see something of that sort coming out in terms of word model or a JEPA. JEPA is joint embedding, which he is the pioneer of. So yes, and perhaps that could be the breakthrough when we break out of transformer models, because neural networks definitely they're great. And one phenomenal paper which has come out of Google, which is right now being presented at NeurIPS, is nested learning, and that also solves some of this problem and reduces the compute cost and everything else, including carbon footprint. So it's an interesting development. And I think, yeah, we are getting there, and I'm sure that along with quantum can be transformational to make AI more affordable, more green, and then can be transformational in terms of how we do. But what we do with it as humanity is a question for all of us and collective. So yes.
So thank you, everyone, this evening. We are at the end of this webinar. I'm going to say for 2026, we might actually see new ways of talking to AI, because all the computer languages have been designed for humans to talk to machines. Machines talking to machines may not need those ways of communication. So potentially new languages for machines talking to other machines, new approaches, new developments. Quantum, definitely we're going to be seeing that. More advances in agentic AI applications and governance. I think I definitely see lots of governance coming across. Governments are actually putting lots of rules and regulations, trying to control this technology. It is very difficult to do, but definitely the future is very interesting. How should I say? So I want to thank everyone for joining this evening, and I want to thank our speakers. Thank you, Aditya, for also adding your perspective. Nim, excellent. Thank you. Cyber and AI, big topic. Julia, data for real.